Hello.
We're going to play some music. And welcome to Becoming Quantum Consciousness on United Public Radio Network 107.7 and UFO Paranormal Network 105.3. And this is Bart Sharp with Becoming Quantum Consciousness. And today we have a very special guest, Neil Dumra.
Hello.
And Neil is a magnificent creator of all types of elixirs. And he's also a personal friend. He's a health coach. He runs a business called Third Eye Lounge in the heart of Austin, Texas. And it's a very special place because not only is it a place where you can drink these amazing concoctions of cacao that literally heal your body and open your awareness in a heartfelt way. But there's other concoctions that do other types of healing with your body. And the cool thing about it is that Neil has invented many of these, or he has gone to the most exotic places on the planet to find the best products available. There's something about his excellence and that makes him and all of what he creates very special. And so we came on the show today with Superhuman Living. And I think we have some really good ideas about what superhuman living is on this planet, and particularly in the United States where we're both from, because I think we kind of need it in this country and probably elsewhere in the world, as the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Network are worldwide. So we are speaking to people all over the planet, and that's kind of exciting. So just want to welcome Neil Dumra.
Thank you, Bart. So much gratitude for having me on. And I'm looking forward to sharing whatever I can and learning so much ways in which I can and share what becoming quantum consciousness means to me and what superhuman living means to me. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'd love to dive in and let's talk.
Yeah, just to tell you a little bit about Neil, he really is out of the box in how he and his diet and what he does. And of course, the shirt he has on is very modest, but he's really quite a buff guy. And yet he only plays pickleball and tennis and ping pong and badminton and those type of games. But yet he looks like he should be working out in the gym and spending hours there sculpting his body. But it just kind of happens naturally for him by his attitude and all of these products that he embraces. And so that's part of what the quantum living is how do you change that in your body to where your body is vibrant, and then your health follows that, your attention span follows that, and that magical energy that could be intuitive or just the ability to attract your dreams to you, which I think is an energetic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Diet is a big part of it, and what you put into your body. And so I'm going to kind of let him go, and talk about this stuff. we're just going to talk about it because we've had quite a few conversations. Neil is a friend of mine, and we've done tons of things together. Uh, and it's always fun to see what he's up to.
Totally. I'd love to dive into this, and thank you, Bart, for the introduction.
Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit about healing, because there's a lot of definitions about healing and the way people think healing happens.
Mm.
And I think we all got our own spin on it. And I just wondered if you could share some thoughts about what you think about it.
Totally.
What's your practice?
Yeah. So I think healing is such an individual journey, and there's so many different ways in which we can access it. And I think a lot of it, the story goes, the issues are in the tissues. The body keeps the score. It all resonates for me in that our whole being has the ability to be coherent. So it's not just the brain, it's the heart, it's the gut, it's the roots, it's the legs. It's like our connection to the earth. And in the world we live in now, it's not as easy to access pure health, to have that direct truth in accessing the most vital health. So the way you said, I think out of the box. It's really, I'm an observer of what is, and I try to find the thing that's working, that actually works intrinsically and has results orientated with it. And so when it comes to consciousness, and this is something that I grew up, I'm kind of the wounded healer in the sense, like I've been healing myself this whole path, trying to find the best ways too. And I've landed upon a few different things. And in terms of quantum healing, it's what I realized is finding ways to release the distractions and the distortions. So when you can do that, you have a closer intimacy to your feeling body, to your emotional body, and then whatever needs to heal gets to heal. And that's what quantum is. It's releasing the finite energy. So when you talk about building your body, I don't build my body the way a traditional bodybuilder does. I built it to the point where I don't need to do a lot, but I put into the body things that doesn't allow destruction to the muscles, doesn't allow acidity to the gut. So it's like, okay, I did a lot of the hard work, most of my life. Now it's maintenance, right? And it becomes more fun because I'm dancing when I'm playing pickleball, and I'm constantly in the jovial, playful state. And I feel like that's what keeps me really in my youth is accessing states of consciousness and then embodying it, and not just digesting it like a finite energy. It becomes infinite, like a tool in your tool belt, right?
Yeah, and that's so wonderfully said. And one of the things that popped up is you were just saying not allowing distractions to come in there, and because so many of our emotions do not only distract us but create an acidity in our body, and so much of what you're saying is a proactive practice in alkaline, not only in your attitude, but in what you ingest.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's all. I'm not a vegan. I'm not a Ayurvedic. I'm not a diet. I don't have a diet. I'm more of a qualitarian. I'm an intentional person. So when it's consumption based, it's like, is this good for me? And I muscle test it, and it's not even a muscle. It's my being test. I test it. It feels like this is good for me. It's a yes, and I don't question it as much because I've released a lot of the distortions. I've done a lot of cleansing. I've rid myself a lot of parasites and fungus and mold and all sorts of things that our human body has more access to living in the modern world. And so just seeing what is current and finding ways to navigate it has been my journey in health. That's how I consider healing.
Yes, and when we say superhuman living, we're not really talking about flying. However, there's a vibrancy in your body that feels like you're flying because you're always getting better in this vibrancy, to have more energy, to live a day fully where you have your full attention because you have the power to support it
Mm.
with that.
Yeah, we do. You and I both know it's kind of like there is the superhuman. There's also the yin, right? The feminine, and I honor her too within me often. So I go to the hot springs. We go to the hot springs, and it's all. I feel like it's an equal balance. Like I run to go play pickleball, 6 days a week or whatever, but I also make sure I take care of my body in a way that requires the deep rest, the massage, the lymphatic drainage, all the things. So it's like it's not a zero-sum game where it's like you're healed. It's always continuous, and being intimate with what the body needs. When the check engine light's on, are we escaping it, or are we focusing on what we can do to find the core or find the source?
You brought up the hot springs. Neil has organized a group in which I'm a member, and that we drive an hour out of Austin, Texas, into this little bitty country village called Autine Hot Springs. And it's a hot springs in a concrete type of pool. It's been there to serve actually multi-handicapped kids years ago, but it also has lithium. And I don't know if it's the lithium or the attitude of the people or just an unwritten message that we talk kindly to each other. We talk about our projects and our businesses and all of these different things, whatever shows up. And I never hear a judgment there or advice given that you should do this or shouldn't do that. But it's more like an active listening and support, and that opens the heart. It's
100%.
just a magical place that you always leave just filled up.
Yeah,
And it's the
I feel
people.
that way. I feel like that's the intention, is to create a place where flow, the water, has the codes. And when we sit in there, an active chelation happens. And chelation is what we want when it comes to healing. When we are chelating in water, it's kind of like our bones and our body and
So
all
what
the
does chelation mean?
chelation is when, basically like we take something that helps break down a substance that doesn't need to be there. So it could be, various substances in our body that when we chelate, when we're in a state where we're doing hot and cold or some of that, it helps release a lot of the substances that don't need to be there, essentially. So when we're in that hot water for 3.5 hours, we're chelating, and it allows our body to get into a maximum flow state. So the reason why you sleep so well, the reason why you have a great, bowel movement is because it's allowing a lot of flow to happen just sitting in that water.
So what you're saying is a lot of the distractions of unresolved emotions stop those natural processes that the body is doing.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all, and it's not one or the other. It's all, and either you do the things to help release the pain, the emotion, the stress, or you suppress it by doing the things that are not so good. And it's like everyone's addicted to something. The world is an addicted place. It's a dopamine. It's like feel good, the phone, the thing, the sex, everything is there for you if you want it. And then there's your self-will. It's your values, it's your integrity, it's what you do. And if you can start doing the right things, it's very simple. There's no sensationalism to it. It's healing. As soon as you start making the right decisions, that's healing. And it can be, a one thing a day or 5 things or whatever, and then community is really important to help support the healing because it keeps you a little bit more accountable. So if you show up to classes, if you show up to places, people get to know your name, you get to know people. It helps you kind of have more understanding of the inner dialogue. And that's why you have people like Bart who can help clear the inner dialogues that are not serving, right? So
Yeah, that's what my fun is,
yeah,
to help with that. And what I also know, and it's like a young woman who's going to be on the show next week, Tiff Fed, was telling me, she says, I try to see the joy in everything. And in that place, I begin to create connections with everything around me instead of separation. It's a proactive practice. My point of view is that sometimes you have to go in and see the limitations and deal with them, and most importantly, learn the lessons from those experiences of introspection. Then you have to go in and build a new energy.
What you said, it was so beautiful. It's like you go to the limitations. The word courage comes to word, but it's like, what makes courage? Sometimes people cower and then they rage, right? It's the reactive and repulsive, the repressive nature that allows a seed to sprout. And sometimes it can be ugly and sometimes it can be beautiful. But what happens is growth and evolution at the end of it if you stay with it.
It does. It's such a journey with all of this, and to me, that's so important because the journey is a lot about a little bit from detachment from the problems, and they're just something that's on the way, so to speak. We're starting to get some people coming in, and I just wanted to say, Neil is an expert in seeing health issues and various things. And so if you do have something going on, and he might be able to give you some insights. We're not doing this as an intuitive, well, I may be doing it as an intuitive, but Neil's expertise is very vast. For somebody so, I don't want to tell you his age, but compared to me, he's young. And I'm always amazed at all the knowledge he has of all the cutting edge things that are happening in the world involved around health. It's totally amazing of all of what he knows. It's one of the beautiful things about Austin is that there's so many people creating new health products, and hopefully that's happening around the United States and the world, that we're inventing new ways, because a lot of the stuff that you see in the store doesn't really work.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Third Eye Elixir Bar Lounge is we're making elixirs using sound and vibration, a homogenizer that makes the drink 10 times more absorbable than if you were to froth it or blend it. So you're drinking the ceremonial cacao, you're having these adaptogens, you're grounding, you're getting anti-inflammatories. You're basically getting yourself out of the head, opening up the heart, feeling good, and releasing oxytocin, which, you get into that love state. And so much can happen when you step into that state more often. You drink cacao every day for a month, it'll literally double your stem cells. So it's like,
wow.
Let's
say that again. If you drink cacao for a month every day, it will double your stem cells.
Let me repeat: ceremonial cacao in at least 40 grams. So you can have a ceremonial dose, or you can have 2 doses of regular, because that's a lot. And what that does is it activates you. Best to do it in the morning. Also good to have some golden milk at night to also have a nice, restful, calm state.
Okay, so we're getting a little technical.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. However, our audience probably wants a little more explanation.
Sure.
What's the difference? 2 questions, and I'm going to say them both before you answer either one of them. What is golden milk, and also what's the difference between ceremonial cacao and just regular cacao?
Sure. So golden milk, I'll just start with golden milk. We have a glowing relaxation that's designed to get you into a restful state. It has turmeric, it has black pepper, it has all these chai spices that help basically get it to your gut and get you into a nice, calm space. It also helps inflammation. It has saffron, which is one of the most powerful antioxidants. And you drink that at night and it helps you just calm down. Helps release the dopamine and the adrenal fatigue that we all potentially have from working. And put your phone away. It's a great way to sleep. I have
And,
created
and
an amazing elixir. Go
I'm
ahead.
a big I'm a big advocate of this. Sorry to interrupt a little
No,
bit. I don't want you to go to the next topic before I say
yeah.
I had tons of inflammation in my body, and it's helped dramatically, particularly when I first started using it. I was in pain in my knees for something like 3 months, inflammation. Nobody could give me an idea of what it was. They could tell me what it wasn't. Had an idea that it really was an arthritis. And Neil says, "Well, you need this golden elixir." So within about 10 days, 80% of my pain was gone, and within about a month to 6 weeks, all of it was gone. It was phenomenal. Nothing ever happened that fast. So I use this regularly, and it helps tremendously. Also, one of my friends, I live in France part of the time, and I rent rooms, and my housemate was very high strung, nervous. She had a nervous anxiety disorder. And I started just leaving cacao. I'm not cacao, but the golden elixir out for her. And she just calmed down tremendously. Uh, and that was, it's just such a wonderful gift that it gives to us. And it's a totally organic product.
Mhm. Yeah. 100% organic. The reason I designed it that way is it's not just for the symptom, it's for the cause in the core. So what's the source of the problem? And it does that too. It does healing. It antioxidants actually start doing stem cell work. And it's not just the anti-inflammatory symptom that you're pushing down. You're actually doing some healing. And that's kind of what these products are. They're not just for the feel goods, which we all want to feel good. We all want to have that high and nice feeling, but we want to also do some of the healing. And that's what these products are designed to do. So the other thing, ceremonial cacao. What is ceremonial cacao? So chocolate, unfortunately, has been overexposed, just like a lot of things in this world. We've got a lot of people. And in that process, they took some of the seeds and beans and hybridized them. They genetically modified them. They made them not so good for you. And they're mostly making that in Africa. 90% of it's made in Africa. The original genetically sovereign, so the ones that have medicinal benefits, the ones that actually open up your heart, that are good to consume, that don't have the heavy metals, come from ceremonial farms where they're biodynamically grown. And the original criollo, the different ceremonial beans, Frontero, Trinitario, these are names of beans. Those with the flavor and the aroma, which when you open up a bag of my cacao, you'll smell it. It opens up. It has not just the taste of chocolate, but you can smell it. And that is ceremonial cacao. So that's what we source. It's only the 5 to 10% of the best cacao in the world. And it's intentionally sourced. You don't have to ever cut down these trees because they naturally grow in a way that it's not being pressured to make cacao. It's done very much with other fruits and vegetables and things. So it's biodynamic.
So it's almost like a garden slash forest environment that the best cacao is grown in.
That's right. You want to have that kind of biodynamic soil. The soil is super important. Our soil in our world is one of the biggest thing that's been depleted. And the rainforest, unfortunately, as much as being attacked, is still where you get the best type of foods from.
Yeah, and it's funny because I do these meditations with different products. Like I'll meditate with a crystal and go to the source of the crystal and feel what that reality feels like. And I do this a lot with plants in general, and with cacao, of course. And the vision I really got was a cacophony of vibrations. They had the cacao tree that might be one of the most highest vibration plants there in that particular forest, because there's are plants that seem to be the peak of the cacophony of vibrations.
Oh yeah.
However, you have the small plants, you have the grounding trees, you have different vibrations, and each plant has its own purpose, creating a harmony amongst all plant life that connects with the insect and animal, and of course, the ground and the sun. All of it seems to work together.
100%.
And this is so valuable for us to relearn.
Mm.
And, when we get to something so raw and special like cacao and such, um, we truly get a gift. So, wherever you're at, well, you can order this stuff online. And I think I have if I don't see it on my screen, and hopefully it's on other people's screen, but
Yeah.
um,
It's
I'll just
super
say
easy.
Will's website is Third Eye Cacao, and that's all spelled out in letters. Third Eye Cacao.
.com. Yep.
.com, and you can order any of this stuff. And there's cacao um, bars all over the world. In fact, where I go in France, in this little bitty town of Serres, which has about a population, maybe 150 people, there's a cacao bar, which is wild. And where we live in Austin, Texas, gosh, do you think there's a dozen cacao bars in town?
Um, I only know of a couple, but they're open. We're opening up more.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You're opening up more.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just amazing what people are creating in relation to this desire to become whole.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
part of that is the foods.
100%. And it's like, if you can have a food with community and connection and intention, it can be really soul healing. It really brings it back home. And we all are walking each other home. That's just it. This
Yeah.
healing journey is that. And I find cacao to be a very gentle medicine compared to a lot of the plant medicines out there.
Hmm.
And it can be a lifelong journey, because opening the heart is a beautiful thing that we can do every day, and it's
Yeah,
a choice.
exactly. And it is a practice. And the Third Eye Lounge is located in Casa de Luz, and the whole complex is a community.
Hmm.
That's its first and foremost, that people can go and just relax. It's not about buying something, but it's about having a place to be and be with people that are like-minded. And that's part of the healing that the community really wants to offer with that. Um, that we are a small community, just like becoming quantum conscious is going to be a worldwide community, because on United Public Radio Network, it is a worldwide community. We're on the internet. People listen to us all over the world, and we're hearing stories about other walks of life wherever we go.
Hmm.
Just to extend a little bit about this community, one of our friends has a food truck that serves sea moss in
Hmm.
all of his foods, because he found it to be the most high mineral content available.
Hmm.
And you would think sea moss, that sounds kind of gross. Uh, and it's kind of intense. However, these folks make these recipes that are vegan, because
Hmm.
I guess that's what they practice, that are absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of the spirit of the adventure of what consciousness is. When we break out of our emotional worlds and we start to see that we have some freedom from our past, then it's time to invent. It's time to bring something else in and start to play again.
I really believe that. I believe every day is a new day with new hopes and new dreams, and we get to keep, putting our intuition into our effort, into our confidence, into our pride, into our love. It's like when you find the thing you like to do, you just do it and you work at it, and you don't have to really try, because your passion is in it, and it just ripples. So I
It's
mean, I think that's just it. It's like falling in love with what you want to be doing in life.
it's wholeheartedness versus half-heartedness. And so much of people really believe that, well, whatever I do, I kind of like it, or I halfway like it. So I'm only halfway there. And one
Mm.
of the greatest principles. In fact, this comes as early as Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. He says, if you're working for somebody else, you should do the best job wholeheartedly while you're there, because you're practicing and building your own consciousness for the day when you find your own dream that you want to create in a business. Of course, this is a total business book written in 1945.
Beautiful book, and I 100% agree with what he's saying. It actually has consciousness written in it with karma.
Oh, it does.
It's also like you practice doing good work, the good work will come from you. And then when you have people you work with or work with you, they'll also represent and ripple that out. It's all energy. And that's what it is. It's like energy is inner chi. It's how you're able to flow with your own energy. And the less blocks you have with it, the more flow you'll have in life. And I truly believe Napoleon Hill was on point there.
Yeah, our heart is so strong.
Hmm.
And it's really the most complex and magnetic organ in the body. And therefore, if we're activating it with cacao or meditation or playing or living an exuberant life, we will have more energy, more vitality, more creativity. Things will come to us. And I'm sure I'm missing something. The way we have sex will probably be totally different. Um, so it's just expanded. The heart is one of those centers that does that. However, the whole body has to jump in with this as well. And sometimes we just have to work on something like our lower gut.
Yeah, it's all connected. That's coherence, gut, heart, brain. The Heart Math Institute really got it. It's also the roots, and that's where Tantra comes in. Getting strong in your roots allows the body to physically become more quantum, become more attuned.
So when
And
you say gut, heart, brain, can you expound a little bit about that?
yeah, so they talk about coherence. And there's an actual device that I have you plug into your finger, and it tells you when you are coherent or when you're not.
So this is the Heart Math Institute's tool, and coherence is all about kind of a balance and expansion in your heart awareness or your heart consciousness.
Yeah, and it's being completely connected between your heart, brain, and gut. So your intuition, your feelings, your emotions, and your logic are all working together.
Mm. Yes. And the gut is so important.
Yeah.
Uh,
Your empathic body lives in the gut. Your compassionate body lives in your heart, and your mindful body lives up here. So when you can work together, then you'll have less distortions, less distractions between your decisions. You'll live more in presence rather than regret. And it's just being more quantum. That's just my definition of being more quantum, is having that ability. And the more quantum you become, the quicker you are at having coherence. Because we all get coherent, we also lose coherence. And being quantum means getting coherent quicker.
yes. It's almost like a spiral where the quantum conscious reality is you're always feeling lighter and lighter because you're always growing.
And
And
you're
this,
not holding. You're not holding. Energetically, quantum, like physically in the third dimension, sometimes we hold unconsciously, and that's when we
yeah.
have pain. Right.
And sometimes we just have to be in this place when we're given adversity, and we have to find a perspective that gives us energy.
Yeah.
Um, for example, I have, it was kind of forced upon me, and part of it was my decision, but I just accrued a $65,000 debt, which is a little bit overwhelming. Um, and I just started seeing the opportunity as like, you've just jumped into a radio show. the client work that you're doing on Zoom, on the internet, has jumped. And now it's time to embrace all of this consciousness that will pull this in. And yes, so much of my money these days is paying a debt, which is not what most people define as fun. However, the fun part of it is doing consciousness work. I get to do more of that with more people and put it out there in a bigger way. And really, when I think about what my mission is, just like yours always seems to be this uh, dharma with health and expansion and just big thing and more of a from physical to emotional. Mine's more emotional to physical.
Mm.
And we're both have this opportunity to express all of that and live it.
Yes.
And that to me is grace.
Yeah, and we've been able to share a lot of our tools with each other, which that's amazing. I love doing that.
It is, and going back to the gut, you turned me onto a product that really helped my gut health a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You call it a word that I can't remember, but it's also called Per Black.
Yeah, Shilajit.
Trilogy.
Yeah, Shilajit. We actually we now source our own Shilajit. We also use Pure Black. We have Omega Organics as well. But Shilajit is humic and fulvic acid found from the Himalayan mountains, and it's the most absorbable form of minerals on the planet. So
When you
this
say
stuff,
absorbable form of minerals, what does that mean?
it means like you can have a food like sea moss and it could have 84 minerals, but how much is your body absorbing it? Right? There's a percentage of that. It's not very absorbable, but Shilajit is the most absorbable. It's tar, it's resin. So when it goes into the body, your body just sucks it up.
Mm. So it's really taking in that goodness and that. To me, it's such a grounding taste.
Yeah, well, and it goes right into the sacrum, into the roots of the body. That's why it's basically like soil for the body. So when we need more, humic and fulvic and probiotics and the really fine stuff that creates energy, that's what you need. That's why you need Shilajit.
How do you spell that?
Shilajit,
Okay.
and it comes in the resin. It comes in powder, and they call it in India in Vedic Ayurvedic terms. They call it the destroyer of weakness, and it's also a natural form of Viagra.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, the destroyer of weakness.
Yeah.
And wonder how much we put our weakness, our most fears, at least as a shaman, I feel this. We always put our worst fears that we feel like we'll never ever resolve. Energetically, they're held in the colon, in particular in the left colon, which is where, people have things like diverticulitis and gut problems and cancer because they can't nurture that emotional part, and then it turns physical.
Mm-hmm.
So Sylogy is a great addition to help you with all of these gut issues.
100%. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. I've been taking it for almost 9 years now, and I literally know that when I don't take it for a while, I can feel it. It's a mineral deficiency in our world. Our food has been mineral depleted, so it's definitely a mineral supplement that I wouldn't go without.
Yeah, yeah, I love it too. I take it every day, and it's amazing how my body feels. There doesn't seem to be much heaviness in it anymore.
Mm.
When I eat junk food and various stuff like that, and there wasn't anything to help that process, there always felt like there was a heaviness in my gut, and something was having a struggle to digest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And,
totally.
and it's such a nice reality to not have that as an issue.
Yep, for sure. No one needs to have that. We can all heal our guts.
Yeah, and just think about all the extra energy you use in healing your gut, not only uh, through the foods that are hard to digest, but also just the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
100%. This is the key that I feel like when you do a parasite cleanse, or you do a gut microbiome healing, juice cleanse, any of these things, the worst part is not being hungry. It's about the emotions that you potentially would to suppress by consuming the thing. So that's what most people face, especially when they're doing the cleanses and detoxes. And I help with that. We do some clearings. We also do lymphatic drainage, which you have the tool now, and those things really help move some of that denser energies, some of those denser emotions. So
this is a wonderful tool if you have allergy problems and you have a spare $4,000.
It's recommended.
This product called the Lymph Star, lymphatic star. Just Google lymph star. That's it. That's in lymphatic. And it's a highly electrical device, but it takes toxins out of your lymphatic systems just like immediately. I was having some allergic reactions yesterday.
Heavy metals too?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so I was just amazed. I was just feeling this tiredness and this runniness coming in my throat, and this cough was starting to happen. And I had not used it in 3 days. And of course, I used it for 30 minutes while I watched a movie, and all of that stuff just went away.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great gift, and that's one of the beauties of Neil, is that he knows all of these products, and he's always guiding me and instructing me with this. And to me, this is a lot of what superhuman living is finding these things that work. And I wanted to ask you a question, because there's a lot of people that they're curious about this.
Yeah,
they want to learn. They really do not know how to start really having that relationship with their body that way. And I thought, could you just give us some pointers if some of the
totally. Yeah.
basic stuff?
Yeah. So a few things I would do is learn about circadian rhythm. So learn about
What rhythm?
Circadian rhythm.
Okay.
So learn about your sleep cycles, dial in the easy things first. So get on YouTube, look up some Tai Chi or some Qigong videos. Do a 5 or 10 minute Qigong practice. So you can start by doing some Qigong. You can start by doing a little bit of tapping, EFT, learn some things like that. You can also show up to a local yoga studio, practice some yoga. I highly recommend, getting into a health community. If you don't have one, there's always one available in every town and every world. There's people who are choosing health and connection. I also recommend
really need support.
Huh?
You really need support.
100%. I also recommend at night, do not use television or cell phone 3 or 4 hours before you go to sleep. Get some blue light glasses. Those are really good for light. Try to dial in your sleep. I highly recommend getting some, glowing relaxation or golden milk, some turmeric, some things to help settle your body at night, and value your sleep. Try to find rest. And then also in the daytime, find exercise. If you can't do heavy exercise, go for a walk, 45-minute walk. You can listen to a podcast or whatever. Find activity, find daylight, find nature. Those are some of the things I would highly recommend to start with.
Yeah. And really to start with a couple of things at a time.
Yeah.
You're really learning a new vocabulary and a new way of life that is different and lighter. And a lot of times we're not ready to jump off the cliff, but we want to make little changes, and that would only be natural. Sometimes we're in such a pain that we do jump off the cliff and we try everything, and that's great. Sometimes that can be frustrating.
I say get a journal and get some of your write 5 minutes a day. That's also, or just writing down things help. I know that whenever I write things down, it keeps me more accountable. So 1 cup of coffee requires 32 glasses of water to balance your internal pH. So it's a really good thing. Switch from coffee to cacao or something else that doesn't have that kind of effect.
Yeah. I've had coffee every day for 20 years. And recently I stopped having it to just once a week. And I still like it, but it's funny how the tastes change. I went to tea and now I've gone to cacao.
Mhm.
I do cacao in the morning and I eat such a lighter breakfast than I ever had before because the cacao energizes me so much. I do not need that much food because I'm eating stuff that has a certain potency to it.
Yeah, it's like cacao. This cacao has the nutrients, has the fats, so it has 50% of the heart fat from cacao butter, which is super good for the heart. Not only that, it taps into your emotions and the code of healing, which just doing that, sometimes we eat because we emotionally want to have breakfast. But sometimes we're not even that hungry. So this helps you kind of understand what your body truly needs. And then you get to eat a little bit later at your time when your body really needs the energy.
Yes, exactly. It's just funny how we listen. And when we start to get this relationship with our body that maybe we start doing muscle testing or what you call applied kinesiology or finding some sort of signaling system that we can understand what our body wants and does not want, it becomes very sophisticated. I can go to a grocery store and maybe like, and I'm not a vegetarian, but I look at the meats at the grocery store and certain stores and I'm just go, that's just not, it just doesn't feel good inside my gut. And
Mhm.
the reason why it doesn't is because I've attuned into my body so many times that it's a part of my dialogue. It's
100%.
letting me know all the time about what's not so great and what's great. And it's only practice that does that. And you kind of have to start with easy stuff. But
100%.
I do it all the time. I'm always asking my body what it wants for breakfast or what it wants for lunch or, and advance into other things. So now I
Body
feel like I'm more in
talks.
my body than my mind.
Your body talks and meditation helps.
It does. It does. And when you mention yoga,
Hmm.
I've not been to many yoga classes. I do yoga at home,
Hmm.
but they're really doing positionings to activate mental wellness
Mm.
and health through certain positions. What do you feel that that's true?
Mental health, you said?
Yeah, yeah. In to create, well, maybe mental health is not the right word, but to create harmony and balance
Oh,
and
100%. I
yeah.
think yoga as a practice is a great way to invite flexibility, strength, stamina, consciousness, breath. Also, to be seen moving in community. It's like the Maharishi effect.
Hmm.
So when people are doing the same actions or the same meditation, it creates an energy in the world. So like every body that's doing yoga, there's an essence that is happening when you're doing it together. Yeah, it's great to practice at home, but you practice in connection with others doing the same movements. It's a beautiful container that is being created. And just like in class, when we're all in resonance with some topic or something exciting, the whole room turns on. And you know what I'm talking about when that
Oh yeah,
happens.
yeah. And I love the term that you used, the Maharishi effect.
Maharishi effect. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And could you explain what that is?
Sure. Yeah. So Maharishi was a teacher, guru type person, spiritual master. And he found that when people meditated in certain numbers, it would actually be more powerful than, let's say like 12 was more powerful than 50. Somehow that 12 created a vortex. It's not that that's necessarily important, but the fact is groups and numbers creates a ripple, and it creates a solid connection with not just yourself, but others holding space for maybe certain parts of you that don't know how to hold that space. And all of a sudden it creates a wholeness as a community and connection. And in terms of spirituality, in terms of deepening your meditation, you practice with that Maharishi effect. It's vastly different than practicing on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
I so agree.
Mm-hmm.
And
we do it at the hot springs when we meditate together and we chant. That's the Maharishi effect.
yeah, exactly. And just the talking and the good feelings and the support of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we never put up a sign saying, never has heard a discouraging word here, but it naturally happens. I think maybe just by the people who go there just gravitate to that attitude, or maybe it's the lithium, maybe it's being out in the country. I don't know. It's probably all of them.
It's the intention of the space that we're all holding. And when we're in love with life and each other, there's no reason to create any distortions or objections or opposition. It's just purity. And we can live there. I truly believe that's a practice, but it's something we can achieve more often in community. And that's what it is. It's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm.
It really is. And it's the whole beauty of it, that we can have that choice. It's just like that old saying, if it's light, it's right. If it's heavy, it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure. Yeah.
and so when we look around the world and we start to see people really focused on the negativity of things, and they're trying to do more negative things to fix the first negative thing, and there's fear wrapped all around it, and you hear it more from their voices and what's happening internally inside of them, because the logic in their words may not be saying that, but it's an energy.
Yeah.
And it's a vibration that you can learn how to understand.
Yeah. My favorite word is, instead of understand, it's innerstand.
Exactly.
The inner knowing, and
Exactly.
you don't need to fight it or argue with it. You just let it go, let it be. You understand and you find your peace.
Yes, it's so true.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the message that we that hang at the Third Eye and Casa de Luz and all of these communities that are out there, we really work at supporting each other.
100%.
And we build and we grow, and it creates that really safe space for everybody. And there's just so many other health products out there we haven't even really mentioned it. I think of the story with your partner Ash, and she did a 30-day activity where she had no sugar of any kind.
Yeah.
And this is all about curing leaky gut. And the premise was, if you do 30 days, and we're talking no fruit, no monk fruit, no honey, all of these things that have any type of sweetness in them. And it really repairs your leaky gut.
Yeah, totally. And it also gives you an opportunity to know when you are truly hungry or you're feeding something. So a lot of times we're feeding certain things in our body that are not necessarily sovereign to our being. And that's why the cleansing is so important.
Yes, it is. It is. And I also bring this up for another reason. I will put mine in Neil's website address on this document that I will be putting on my website, bartsharp.com, about healthy tips to transform your relationship with sugar.
Beautiful. Yeah, I have a few articles I'd love to post. I'd love to share.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
And yeah, so they'll all be there, because I really see that sugar is such a big challenge for most people on the planet.
Oh yeah.
I don't see you eating much
first
sugar.
drug that all kids had.
Yeah. And so to me, it's a kind of a long-term process. I don't see many people just going cold turkey and never having sugar again once they decide that it's not great for them.
Yeah.
But it's a relationship that you have to transform, and there's a lot of emotional strategies, habits, and perspectives that you learn in the process. So I was writing some of those notes down. I always try to have an article in relation to the class today, and it'll always be on my website, bartsharp.com, along with a lot of other good stuff.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to do a cleanse, I offer amazing cleanses and detox protocols.
Oh, yes.
So we can
And,
definitely do that.
Neil is a great counselor in health, and you can do this over the internet, correct?
Yeah, you can do it on the internet. If you want to come here and spend some time in Austin, I'd love to host you here. But yeah, I can do it on the internet too.
Yeah. It's a very interesting process if you want to just jump into something. And these are all proactive techniques, but they addressed what is dysfunctional in the body
100%.
at the same time. So it's changing a way of life while you are healing something that you have been struggling with. And usually that's one of the main reasons why people take on changes is they are in pain.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so we can change all of that. It's this process, and I loved your comment earlier. I wanted to reiterate: is to find your community, find the people that are really wishing to have some of the same life changes,
Yeah,
involving in some of the same places.
to be supported and to be loved, to be seen, to be witnessed, to care for others and to be cared for. These are part of the human condition. And it's a beautiful condition. It's a beautiful part of why we're here. And we can't bypass this part. This is like the meat of it all. So
Yes. Well, I just got all of these messages from people. I don't know why I hadn't seen them. Hi,
okay.
Carrie. And you're saying coherence, also called 0 point in the field. It feels the same.
Got a 0 point necklace on.
Okay. Yep. So Neil agrees with you with that. And I don't know, Coffig, COFFIG. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's a coffee ghee product. I know what that is.
Any opinions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good fat to add to your coffee. It'll make it less acidic. Yeah.
Well, that's always a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Carrie, for bringing that out. I'm
We
sorry.
sell, we sell a Prosh jam that has ghee, honey, shilajit, 10 different types of mushrooms, some rose and ormus. And it's great to add to coffee if anybody, or even add on toast or just have it in a spoonful. It's really good nutrients.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of products there. And we're coming to the end of our hour here. And I just wanted to thank Neil of Third Eye Lounge. And that would be at thirdeyecacao.com.
thirdeyecacao.com, thirdeyetonic.com, thirdeyemeditationlounge.com. And if you have an opportunity to come visit us in Austin, Texas, we'd love to see you here.
Yeah, it's a lounge, so hanging out is kind of part of the process at there. And it's beautiful. It makes me want to get in my car and drive there after the show, actually.
I'll see you there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you, Bart.
Beautiful conversation, and I hope to have you on again.
Yes.
And, much love and blessings to you.
Thank you so much. Good to meet you all on Becoming Quantum Conscious. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye for now.
Bye. Okay.